Hey guys, and welcome to another StarCraft 2 cast by Glitch. Today, I'm going to be casting for you another best of 3 from MLG Orlando 2011. Spawning here in the right position as the blue Terran, playing for Team Liquid, we have TLO, otherwise known as the Little One. Spawning here in the left position as the red Zerg, playing from Team Rain, we have Slush. Now, this is, as I said, going to be a best of 3 from MLG Orlando, and it wasn't a game that I've seen anywhere. I was actually trying to find this game. I was looking around for this game. I saw it come up in the downloadable replays, and I was like trying to look for it, trying to figure out exactly where it came from, when it was played, and I couldn't find it anywhere, but I kept looking, and eventually I actually came across the entire replay pack for MLG Orlando, just downloaded the whole thing, discovered it was one of the consolation matches. I don't think it showed up on either of the red or blue streams for MLG Orlando, so I said, hey, why not? It's a TLO versus Slush game. Both of these players are so good. I mean, this game needs to be cast. It's not out there at all, so, or as far as I've seen. It might be out there in some form, but I hadn't seen it yet. So, just decided to cast this best of 3. It's got to be epic. TLO versus Slush. I mean, come on. So, we're going to be taking a quick look at both of these players' styles. TLO, of course, very famous for being able to do quite a wide variety of styles. TLO was very good. I think in beta, he actually played as random. And then once the game came out, I think he started as Terran, actually. He started as Terran, but then switched to Zerg shortly after, and then later on switched back to Terran, if I'm not mistaken. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong on that one, but I'm pretty sure that was exactly what went down for TLO, and now he is strictly a Terran player, and he is probably one of Europe's best Terran players. He's extremely good, as you can see from this absolutely awesome SCV micro there, denying that hatchery there for a good 30 seconds there. That was a good little play there by TLO. Now he just has to be very careful because that SCV is getting very low on health. Spawning pool now going down here for Slush. For those of you that don't know Slush, Slush is actually a Canadian player, used to play on Team Root, but of course when Root disbanded, Slush had to find himself a new team, and he found himself a new home at Team Rain. And Team Rain definitely has some good players on its team there, so definitely good acquisition there for Team Rain, and I think it'll be a good fit for Slush there. Now, TLO so far has managed to throw down one barracks. He did get his refinery down, so he's going to start to mine that gas. Maybe a factory coming up. There it is. Factory just now coming down here for TLO. Looks like he might be trying to go for some early Hellion builds. Definitely viable builds in TVZ right now. Zerg, against Zerg, then Hellion openings are very popular right now. Used to be Banshees. Banshees used to be very popular in the TVZ matchup, but these days, Hellions have just been the way to go. You don't have to invest so much gas in it. If you think about it, I mean, it's mostly a mineral investment. The factory costs about 100 gas, but past that, you got to get an add-on as well. But other than that, well, actually, you don't have to get an add-on, but generally, people like to get that reactor or to get the tech lab to get that Blue Flame Hellion upgrade. But it's very gas light, and you can actually deal a lot of damage. Like, I'm sure if you're a Zerg player, then you've played that game where that guy just comes into your base first with just a couple of Hellions, so you're like, alright, I'll throw down a Spine, I'll get some extra Zerglings, you know, not a big problem. And then all of a sudden, like, in the early mid-game, he enters your base with, like, 16 Hellions, which costs him no gas, so he can still be teching on the side and getting up all kinds of other awesome tech. And then all of a sudden, he just comes in with 16 Hellions, kills 50 of your probes, and then, or your drones, and then you're just screwed. You pretty much instantly lose the game. Yeah, you all know what that's like. Hellions and Hellion openings are really strong and really good right now. Despite Hellions got nerfed a little while back. Their damage was nerfed, but they're still pretty darn good. Still kill those drones quite easily. So that's definitely a very viable opening here for TLO. And it looks like we do have a fast starport coming down here. So it is something like a 1-1-1. We do have a command center going down as well. Whoa, and it looks like we're going to have actually a second starport coming down. This is exactly what I was talking about before. He's now going to be able to, with this Hellion, he's going to be able to scout his opponent's base, be able to poke in there, and this is a 0 gas. This Hellion alone is a 0 gas investment. By losing that Hellion, he loses no gas, loses just some minerals, and even that is really not that bad considering that he just got a wealth of scouting information. He managed to see that Roach Warren going down, which tells him a lot about what his opponent's going to be doing. His opponent is going to be having to go for some kind of maybe Roach Ling tech. Here, as we can see, he is committing to that Zergling speed right now, so we are going to be seeing Zergling speed as well as Roaches coming up here. And right now, Slush only mining from 1 gas at this point in time, and it looks like he's going to poke into his opponent's base with some Roaches. Roaches are, of course, a very good counter to Hellions, because Hellions just don't do that much damage against them. They are armored, and now with TLO making a nice little wall here. I actually kind of like this wall. This is kind of a cute little wall. I like it a lot. Got a bunker, couple of bunkers here, as well as a factory, continuing to pump out Hellions, but now this double starport is what's going to be the deadly move. Is Slush going to get up into the main? If he manages to get up into the main and scout this starport, that is going to be huge. And oh, he does manage to finally just barely see the starport. He can see that they're both building as well. So he has got to be wondering at this point what exactly TLO is doing. Could he actually see the add-ons? No, he could not actually see the add-ons. This is the vision of Slush, and he does not see the add-ons, so he doesn't know if those are going to be reactored, producing Hellions, or rather Medivacs or Vikings, or whether they'll be Tech Labs producing Banshees. But I would say at this point it would be a very safe move to get up some anti-air defense right now, because Banshees are definitely a viable option. If you see, it's really rare that you see 2 starport ever, but to see, especially this early in the game, I mean, it's pretty much guaranteed most likely going to be Banshees. If it was Medivacs, then it's standard to get 1 Medivac, or 1 reactor, 1 starport with reactor rather, and start producing double Medivacs. But this is very, very unusual to go double starport this early in the game if you're going to just be producing Medivacs out of them. So he's got to know something is up right now, and there we go. We do now see Spore Crawlers coming down here, but not a whole lot. Just 1 at each base right now, trying not to commit too many resources right now. But as we can see on the production tab right now, we currently have 2 Banshees coming out here for TLO, and including the one he's got up already, that's going to be 3 Banshees, and 3 Banshees can be very, very strong. Armory also going up in the main here, as well as 2 more factories, so it looks like it's going to be some mech play here from TLO with some early Banshee harass. Now we do see Tech Labs going down on this factory, so it looks like it's going to be siege tanks here. Zerglings now moving across the field right now, able to see a lot of these Banshees, all 3 of the Banshees, as well as a Raven now moving in here. Looks like he's going to be able to get there just in time to be able to deny this 3rd base from going down. And right now, Slush just doesn't have a whole lot. If we check out the unit counting station, we can see there are only 4 Queens out right now, and a 1 Spore at each base, and now these Banshees are here. And this is so dangerous for Zerg, because you never know how much your opponent is going to commit to these Banshees. Now, if it's just 1 Banshee, you can pretty well defend it with just a couple of Queens, but 2 Banshees starts to get scary, and 3 Banshees starts to get really, really scary. A lot of Zergs will start to prepare, you know, for less Banshees. As you can see, these Banshees are just ripping through these Queens. Nice transfuse going down there for Slush. But now, beautiful point defense drone going down. Gonna deny these Queens from dealing any damage as long as this point defense drone is here. So I absolutely love that play there from TLO. For those of you that don't know, a point defense drone will absorb all projectile attacks from opponents until it is out of energy. So it pretty much just deflects a lot of damage. It's pretty much just like a stationary shield there that prevents your opponent from dealing too much damage. How is Slush going to be responding to this? We do see a Spire coming down for Slush, and a lot of Zerglings being produced here right now. He's trying to poke into his opponent's base, but as we can see, it's pretty well fortified right now. A lot of Thors actually on the way. TLO is on 2 base right now. 2 Thors coming out at this point, 3 Thors on the way, so it looks like TLO is going to be going for a heavy Thor play while he keeps doing damage with these 3 Banshees. And what I was saying earlier about the Banshees is a lot of times Zerg players, they don't want to commit too heavily to air defense, because a lot of times if they overcommit, if they start going Hydralisk Tech, things like that, they're going to be weak to a lot of the more basic pushes. Like their opponent could just be getting a good big push of Marines, and they could actually lose quite a bit if they don't tech properly. So a lot of times Zerg players will try not to overcommit, and they'll try to go for a very, very bare air defense. But as you can see, Slush just getting a little bit nervous right now, starting to produce a lot of Corruptors, because he's afraid that his opponent's going to come into his base with just a lot of Banshees. Because the difference between having just a couple of Banshees in your base as opposed to having 4 Banshees is so huge. 4 Banshees is so much harder to take out for a Zerg player than just 1 or 2 Banshees. It's an exponential difference. But as you can see, TLO is transitioning right now into this Thor tech, and Thors are just really, really strong right now. Thors are so hard to beat right now for Zerg. Mass Thor, especially once you get past about 6 or 7 Thors, it can be really, really hard to break. Looks like it's going to be Ling Infestor might be the name of the game here from Slush. Looks like he's not producing any Mutalisks despite his Spire being up. Double Evolution Chamber is up right now. +2 Ground Carapace as well as +1 melee attacks is currently on the way. And it looks like a Macro Hatch is now going up as Slush decides to try to retake his 3rd as well as a 4th base. Roach speed now being researched as well, so I really think this is probably the way to go, because if you want to think about the advantages that a Thor-based army have, they're very, very, very strong, but they're extremely immobile. As you can see, the moment TLO pushes out into the base, he's pushing out into the middle of the map. Slush is just going to go and counterattack with these Zerglings, going to be able to deal some damage here, actually getting quite a few SCV kills there. Not quite able to take out that second bunker though, but now TLO is moving forward with a lot of Thors, and this can be very, very scary to have to deal with. Like I was saying, the disadvantage of all these Thors is that they are slow. They're so immobile, and they're very, very hard for Zerg to beat in a direct fight. Looks like Slush is going to be trying to go for a Roach-Ling combination here. Lots of Lings moving in here, but I don't think this is enough Lings to be able to take out this many Thors. This many Thors is so hard to take out, and as you can see, these Thors are just ripping through these Zerglings. One Thor does go down, but all those Zerglings were lost there, and this hatchery is so low from going down. Only at 58 hit points there. Gonna try to defend it, but I think Slush is gonna be best off pulling back there. As you can see, a lot of damage being dealt here by TLO. The other expansion of Slush is gonna be up here. And I really like that expansion, despite that expansion going down before he attacked. By having this expansion here away from the Thors, that's going to be a very safe expansion to have, because TLO is going to want to have to focus his efforts here on the lower portion of the map, because he really wants to support these Thors properly. And as we can see, auto turrets are going down, as well as the more Roaches coming in. Banshee's also supporting these Thors as well, and these Thors are actually going down pretty quick to all these Roaches. The Corruptor count is really high here, but they're just not able to do anything right now. These Corruptors are just going to kind of hang out there, and it looks like those Thors are finally going to go down to the Roaches of Slush. So good job holding that off there by Slush, and Slush is now going to be chasing down these Banshees, and I actually don't know which of these units is faster. Move speed 2.75 to the Corruptors 2.95, so Corruptors are actually just a smidgen faster than Banshees, and it looks like he's going to be able to pick these off, but it looks like that's about all the damage he's going to be able to do is just the one Banshee. Now he's going to be pulling back with these Corruptors. That is about all he can really do with these Corruptors. At this point, he kind of overproduced these Corruptors. This is a lot of gas that was spent. These Corruptors cost 100 gas each, so that's 600 gas right there. That's a lot of gas to have tied up in Corruptors that really aren't going to be that much use except for against these two Banshees, which TLO has pretty much stopped creating. He's now switched over to pretty much just siege tanks and Thors. As we can see, he's going to keep these few Thors that he's got up right now, and he's just producing a lot of siege tanks out of 3 factories. I don't like, though, that he's now got these starports that are now just sitting there completely unused. Looks like TLO is going to be trying to take another base. Looks like he's going to try to take his 4th. Slush does have a burrowed Zergling here. That's going to prevent that from going down for a little bit, but I think TLO is going to be able to scan and pick that off here very shortly, as here goes that command center. Going to try to land. Not going to be able to quite do it, because of course that Zergling is just impossible to land a building on top of and just crush. I always kind of wondered about that. Those Zerglings that just kind of sit there and they're just like, hey, can't we just crush that? We can just land there anyway, right? That Zergling it's pretty small. It's like the size of a dog, right? We could probably just crush it. Nope, can't do it. Can't do it. Lots of forces down moving in here from Slush, and the Thors are going down rather quickly here, but the siege tank count here is pretty high here for TLO. Looks like he's going to be able to pick off most of those forces. Now landing that command center, getting down that 3rd base, and now Slush going to be trying to retake that 4th base. In the meantime, trying to deny that other base with some Zerglings. Wants to know when his opponent's expanding. Got Zerglings at every single one of the bases here. Like that play there from Slush. In the base of Slush now, looks like he is going to be going for that Hive tech, starting to tech up to Hive. Broodlord is one way to be able to deal with Thors. Broodlord is a decent way. It's not the best way in the world to deal with Thors, but it's not a bad way either if it's properly supported. Two Banshees now moving in here, going to be able to try to do some damage to this 3rd base. Here they now move in. Looks like they're going to be able to pick off that Queen. There is a Spine Crawler going up here, but no Spores going down yet. The Queen does go down, and now these Banshees are going to start to pick off the units. Nice fungal growth there going down here for Slush, being able to deal some of the damage to these Banshees, but now those Banshees are going to have to be on the run for it, because those 6 Corruptors are still on the map, and yes, they are going to be able to pick off those Banshees. And in the base of Slush, talk for a minute here about what Slush is actually doing. Slush actually has +3 melee attacks on the way, as well as +2 missile attacks. So yeah, it looks like Roach Ling is going to be his answer for dealing with Thors. I really like this move. Why? Because Roach Ling is much more mobile than Thor. A Thor siege tank army is really strong when you just put it in one place. You can put it in the center of the map, and it's very strong, maintain very strong map control, and it's so hard to break. But how can you beat that? By being very mobile, by going for lots of counterattacks, and the second your opponent moves out, just move in for an attack. Deal damage in slow, small amounts. Drop play, Nidus play, also very strong here. And now we do actually have Overlord carrying capacity just finished as well. Those Ventral Sacks for Overlords just now finishing, and some Overlords here are moving into position. Ooh, one siege tank caught out in the middle of the map. Going to be able to get picked off there by those Zerglings. Nice move there by Slush, and now it looks like we're going to have a bit of a drop here from Slush. He's now going to be loading up all these Roaches and into these Overlords, and now these Overlords are going to be going for a drop in the main. Absolutely love this play here from Slush, because as you can see, TLO is pretty much unbreakable at his front, but now all the units of Slush now being dropped in the main expansion here of TLO. Hellions coming to try to deny these Lings from dealing too much damage, but these Zerglings are going to be able to deny that command center. That was not canceled, and that did go down there. And now these Zerglings try to deal some damage here, but not dealing as much damage as they could have. Ghosts now on the field here for TLO. Definitely worried about the chance of Infestors coming out on the field here and getting off those EMPs. More Zerglings being dropped, still doing some damage, but I think those are going to be pretty well held off there by TLO. Now we do have those starports now being swapped onto reactors, so it looks like Viking production going to now be starting. And here goes Slush for a big counterattack here while he moved his opponent's entire army out of the place. He's going to be moving in here trying to deal damage to this planetary fortress, but so much repairing is going down. Fungal growth's going down on all the SCVs there. Beautiful fungal growth there by Slush, but it looks like he's not going to be able to quite pick off that planetary fortress, and now these siege tanks are in position to deny any more damage from being dealt. The planetary fortress does manage to hold, and TLO is now just going to be trying to expand to the gold. As you can see, he's going to be taking out that Zergling there, moving that expansion to the gold, and he's going to be in a pretty good spot there. Now, Slush is fully on 4 base right now, but how is he going to be able to deal with this? We do see 6 Broodlords are on the way, and where are these Broodlords? More drops continuing to go into the main. Love this play from Slush, trying to be very mobile, and it looks like he's going to be able to pick off the army. If he picks off the armory, that is going to cut off all Thor production here out of TLO, but as you can see, from that armory, TLO is already +2/+2 in armor upgrades here, so his siege tanks and his Thors are going to be really strong. Big counterattack here coming from Slush as he's going to move in with a lot of Zerglings trying to focus down these units, but there are a couple of siege tanks here and a couple of Thors here, as well as a few Hellions that I think are going to be able to deny those from doing too much more damage, and I think TLO might have just supplied himself with a gold base, and woo, nice move here by Slush. He's going to continue to drop down these infested swarm eggs so that these siege tanks start to take down the Thors and the Hellions. Beautiful play here from Slush. I'm absolutely loving this. TLO has got to be wondering, the Ghost goes down, a Thor goes down, and all those Hellions go down as well. Absolutely love that play there from Slush. And now, lots and lots of infested swarm eggs going down all around those siege tanks, and they are going to start to focus down those siege tanks. One siege tank goes down, and the other is going to manage to stay up there, but beautiful play there by Slush, as Slush really didn't lose anything. Now 6 Broodlords now moving in, but oh no, the Vikings are out here, and there's no anti-air to be able to stop these Vikings from dealing any damage, and Slush deciding he has no choice but to just move forward with these and attack as best as he can. Those infestors, where did they go? They've got no energy right now, and oh no, all the Broodlords being taken down here for Slush. He's in an absolutely terrible position right now. That was so much money that was invested into those Broodlords that are now just not going to be able to deal any damage. Roach is trying to go for a big counterattack here. Looks like they're going to start to focus down these siege tanks caught out of position in the middle of the map. Going to be able to pick off a few siege tanks here, but the forces of TLO are now moving into position. Lots of siege tanks here. Going to be able to take out all those Roaches. Look at how fast those Roaches die to these 2/2 siege tanks. Going to be able to deal so much damage. Thor now in the mix as well, and what was Slush's third does now go down. Slush trying to get up more forces as fast as he can. Zerg Carapace level 3 as well as Zerg missile attacks level 3 coming up, as well as 3 more infestors, but this push here from TLO is looking really strong right now. Slush just now establishing that gold base, and is TLO aware of it? No, he's not yet aware of this gold base that is now up here for Slush. Looks like Slush is also going to be taking this forward base as well, so Slush is in a very good macro position right now. Checking out the harvester count, 66 harvesters to 64, so both these players are pretty much at around exactly the amount of harvesters you want to be at. Any more than about 70 and it'll really start to cut into your army production. But as you can see, looks like this base is now going to be spotted by TLO, and he's gonna leave it to continue to build. There we go. Now TLO does recognize that it is there. He's going to be taking out that expansion. Looks like he's going to try to deny this gold expansion from going down. Looks like this Overlord is for some reason unloading a lot of drones here, but those drones are all just going to be dropped right next to the Hellions. Free kills for TLO, and he's now going to be moving in, killing so many drones. Nice burrow there by Slush. Burrows all his drones into the ground there to protect them from any more damage, but what units does Slush have to be able to defend this? 2 Broodlords currently out right now, 9 Roaches, a couple of Corruptors, and 7 Infestors currently out on the field. On the production tab, we see another hatchery coming up at this base again here for Slush, but that is about all that he's got up right now. He's really run out of mining bases. As you can see, he's still got this 3rd mining base here, but his natural is pretty much mined out, as well as his main. Not a whole lot going on there. Trying to go for some Roach counterattacks here, but this planetary fortress is just so strong, and it is well established. Look at that oversaturation on that gold base, and now TLO moving in with lots of forces. Did I just miss the last engagement, or did Slush just GG out of that? Let's go and check and find out. That's actually way too far back. There we go. Wait, maybe not. Let's keep... I'm gonna actually speed this up a little bit. Let's see. Here come the forces of TLO. There's gonna be some lag. Sorry for the lag. There's a lot of lag going on right now, but TLO now moving in, taking out that expansion. The expansion does go down. And, yeah, I think that Slush might have just GG'd out of this one. TLO's got such a huge food advantage right now. So many siege tanks. And, yeah, there it is. I did not actually miss anything. The siege tanks just sieged up, and Slush just knew he could not take this attack out. Without this base here and this gold base mining, there was just no way Slush could come back from that. So TLO takes game 1, and we're going to be going into game 2 right now to see if Slush can take his revenge on TLO. So stick with me, guys. Game 2 from MLG Orlando between TLO and Slush is right now.